Good afternoon, HWE 1050. It is Tuesday, February 17th. Welcome to week 5 of the semester. We just finished up carbohydrates, so our first macronutrient, our first calorie yielding nutrient. Excuse me, I'm stumbling here. So we learned all about carbohydrates, from the biggest unit as we're eating it as a polysaccharide down to the smallest unit as a glucose molecule that enters our bloodstream and fuels our brain and our cells. So now we are looking at our next macro, lipid. And so we will take it again from its biggest fat unit down to the smallest and look at the digestion piece and absorption piece of it, and then put it into the bloodstream and let it do its thing. So from us eating, that turkey sandwich to what happens at the end of everything. So we will dive into lipids. We note there's kind of this is kind of a neat chapter. I know carbohydrates is always interesting to me because they're vilified entirely, but if we're really looking at carbohydrates and the food groups that it comes from, which is everything for the most part, so plant-based sources of protein, our fruits, our vegetables, our grains, and our dairy. Really, if we're consuming carbohydrates from whole food sources, it's fine. They shouldn't be vilified. We need carbohydrates in our body. It's a necessity for us to fuel ourselves properly. So when they get a bad rap, I would like to kind of divert that into what is getting the bad rap, right? So whole foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, whole grains, dairy aren't the problem. Perhaps it's maybe the packaged processed items that are so heavily found in our culture that are the problem. The sodas, the crackers, the cookies, the cakes, the chips, all these other processed items that sugar is found in. So again, when we break it down, it doesn't matter what it came in as. Glucose is glucose. We break it down to all glucose molecules in the end. However, where they came from in the beginning is what matters, and certainly what impacts our blood sugar and what impacts our digestion as well. So that said, we are going to kind of go through that same process with lipids and determine kind of maybe the better of the lipid versus the not so better of the lipid. We're going to explore cholesterol and what that means. I will probably pop in and post a video on HDL and LDL just to clarify. We don't eat HDL and we don't eat LDL. Those are transport vehicles within our blood that help us carry different lipids around. So clarifying that and then kind of looking at the difference between saturated fat and unsaturated fat. So I'm liking to dig through these things now. I almost think it's refreshing as we're looking at these new dietary guidelines too and what they say, and then reflecting back on scientific data of what we know to be true. Okay. I have gotten your first homework sets. This is a big class. I also have 3 other classes that have submitted that. So just bear with me as I work through those and getting them graded and back to you. It will take me a minute. So do not fear. I will get them. Okay, so jump into lipids. Let me know if you have questions. I hope you have a wonderful week.